Okay, so I figured this out. I'm using Cubase 14. Hopefully, previous versions have the same functionality. Um, but I have created a MIDI controller, which I'm sure you'd be able to import the settings for. So I'll just quickly show you how this works. Obviously, sorry, the screen's kind of hard to see, but I'll just move. So it's at the limit switch. I'll just move it off just to demonstrate because now the start button becomes available. So when I hit start, you see it starts the project. And you can't see this, but to my left, we have the lathe, and the motor is currently running at with these details here. And then it's going to do a lead out when it hits this note. And that then stops the project and returns the playback to the marker 1 here. So I'll just start from the very beginning and I'll show you how I set this up, and hopefully you'll be able to do the same. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to map everything in Cubase and show you what the preference settings are, what worked for me anyway. Cubase isn't my usual door of choice, so hopefully this will do it for you. So first of all, let's go into settings. So I go up to MIDI here at the top, set up editor preferences. I'm going to go down to MIDI and I'm going to switch off MIDI through active and basically turn off all of these and just leave System X and Note on. Then hit apply. Okay. All right, so if you want to, you can also save this as a preference. So I don't know, if you use your DAW to make music, you can just pull it up and do it whenever you need it. Okay. I'm next going to do the arrangement, how I'd arrange it. So first off, let's add a marker track. Let's add an audio track. Audio. Let's add a MIDI track. We'll call this PhonoLab MIDI M8. MIDI inputs, yep. This is our SSL solid state logic audio interface. So that's with MIDI ins and outs. So that's what we want to use for our MIDI track. If you've got a MIDI cable, you want to select that to the, whatever your cables are called, because you can get the USB to MIDI cables. Add the track. All right, now what I want to do is set a marker. So in Ableton, you have these things called markers, and you can put them along the timeline. In Cubase, you also have them. So use your draw tool and just put one there. Okay, easy as that. So that's that one done. Next, we have our audio. So this is where you'd put your audio. And then obviously here is where you enter your MIDI notes. So let's just do that for this. So we're looking at C3 is our MIDI note to do the lead in. And just for illustration purposes, so another one here. And this will be our move anyway. Sorry, like I said, this is not my right, where's it put it? Let's do it here. E3. Right, let's come up here. So this is our lead out. Okay, so just for illustration purposes, we've got the lead in. It's gonna do some cutting, cutting, and then we have the lead out, and I'll show you what happens there. So next we want to go down here into our MIDI remote. So our MIDI remote, this is where you can add a MIDI controller surface and map different functions of the MIDI controller to transport functions and whatnot in Cubase. So vendor, we can create our own. Now I've also got a I've also created a script for this already. If you have that file, you can just import script here. So import script, open that file, and it should pull up what I've already done. And input port, SSL, yeah, whatever your audio interface or however you're communicating MIDI with your computer to the automation system. Let's create that. Okay, if you're creating it from scratch, this is where we go to the manual cut page. And on the manual cut page, you'll see we have a play. And when I hit that, you see it started a new, we've got a new button here. And I'm going to hit stop. And that essentially has sent 2 notes, and we've got them there, and they're connected to the notes. I think it's C0 and D0. So you can see we've got a note, and we're going to tick off transmit to hardware. This is note 48, and we're going to uncheck that. So we have these buttons here, but they're not yet mapped to anything. So we want to map them to the start and stop, and we want to map another one to the marker. So I'll just add the one for the marker. Now you have to do that one manually. And actually these should be buttons. Sorry about that. We'll do a button here, and we'll add that, and we'll do this to note, channel 1, and we're looking at note 52 is this one. So now we've got our 3 buttons here. Let's go to our mapping assistant. So this is where we actually map these different notes. So we hit play. So this is our play button, and that's like we can attach that in transport. I'm going to go to start. So that this button here is what came up when we hit play, which is here, and now we're mapping it to the start function. So you can hit apply, and then now we have it there. It's attributed to this. So let's go to the next one. We want this to be our stop. We can apply that one there. And we want this last one to go to our marker. So if you type marker in the functions browser here and scroll down and go to marker 1, it will basically reset the playback to marker 1. Apply mapping, and now we have all 3 of these done. Let's close this window. So as you can see, we have it all here. Now this should work. So we go to our mix console. We have our audio here. So this is our audio track. We have our automation track here. And so let's go back. And now we're in a position where, say for example, we've just hit start position and we're ready to do our cut. You can then hit start, and you see now it's playing the transport start function, and it's moving across, and you can't see, but to my left we have the lead-ins just happened, and now it's running at its cut speed. When it hits the lead out, it receives the MIDI note, it does the lead out, and you see it stops the door and returns to the marker 1. And so this is probably the easiest way to set it all up in Cubase. I have also got this file or this project saved, so if you do have Cubase 14, then you can use this one straight away.